There's an author named Craig Hill. He talks about it a little bit. I speak about it from maybe a more sonship perspective, but I think we go from provision to overflow to multiplication. So provision, I have everything that I need. I don't lack, and I find rest in provision. Provision is the phase where you learn rest, right? Rest is the key. We were built for rest. When you don't live out of rest, you are paying the price somewhere. Like I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. They're very type A personality. Let's go get it. And so they don't rest. They don't sit because they're so gifted and talented. They just go, 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 go. Something pays the price. Either their body pays the price, their marriage pays the price, their children pay the price. So when I'm not sitting in the seat of rest, that's my inheritance. I'm going to pay the price somewhere. And so provision is the phase where we learn rest. The wilderness, when they came out of Egypt, the Israelites were learning rest in the wilderness so that then they could take the promised land. But they didn't learn the rest there where they could trust that Father's going to look after things. Father is going to take them into a land full of giants, and he's going to look after the giants. You don't have to worry. So rest, provision is where we learn how to relax. Now, in the world, when you have just enough, when your needs are being met, you think it's not good enough. But in reality, that is the greatest place to be. And it's just the beginning. Because once you are detached from needing a big bank account, once you are detached from needing to know how income's going to come, once you are detached from needing to know everything, you start to walk into the deeper spiritual things that are way beyond our understanding. And you get to experience all of it, you know. So I believe that God uses this provision phase to develop rest in us, just like a baby. A baby's born and everything a baby needs is provided for. And that baby learns rest. And then from there, we can come into overflow. So I've watched when people come into money and there's a little bit more money than what I need. There's a little bit more resource than what I need. And you're now growing up, learning how to steward the overflow. You're learning how to steward the extra. You know, but then at some point we grow into multiplication where now my money makes money. My stuff makes stuff, you know, like in the parable of the minas. So there's a parable of the talents and parable of the minas. In the parable of the minas, these guys say to the master, Lord, your minas made minas. In the talents, they say, Lord, I took your 5 talents and I made it 10. So I took the 5 and I made it 10, right? Which is the overflow. This is good. It's all on my effort. But then in the minas, they say, no, your minas made minas. So they've come into a new way of understanding, you know. So God matures us and raises us into these things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. And
Yeah.
so there is a different way of thinking and a different reward system when you start to understand ecosystem. You know, your minas made minas. So what happens in the parable of the talents is they say, Lord, I took your 5, right? How did they get their talents? It says each one got according to their ability. So I took your 5, I made it 10. And then the master says, congratulations, have some more talents, right? So you get more of what you had. But in the minas, they say, Lord, I took your mina made minas. Then he says, congratulations, you are now ruler over cities. It's like they've understood something else, an ecosystem, you know. So as you mature as a son, one of the signs of your maturity is you don't even think about you as an individual anymore. Everything is in the collective. The I is in the we and the us, and the I, we, us is in the him. Everything becomes connected. Union now is not just me and Trinity. It's me and my wife. It's me and the community I do life with. It's me and creation. Oneness starts to, the understanding of it starts to grow, you know. I've met a lot of people who talk about this in theory, but actually in reality, they don't yet have that kind of oneness in their home. Because when you journey this, your heart and everything in your heart that's not according to original intent, everything in your heart that doesn't line up with who God made you to be, it gets exposed in the maturing journey. You know, and so you start to see, you know what, I have some insecurities. I have some jealousy. I actually choose to withhold love from this person because I decided they don't deserve it. You get really exposed, you know, and marriage and children and siblings and parents, these relationships expose you in a way that nothing else will because they know your record. They know the record of all your wrongs. They know all your weaknesses and they try and remind you of it, you know? And sometimes your weaknesses they just manifest in front of these people. And that's where a lot of the maturing can happen. But what we find is religion trained us to leave those places. So we have people that go and do church things, and they go on missions trips, and they go everywhere to transform places, where actually in their own home, God is using certain things to mature them,